welcome to The Adoption Door. I'm your host, Andres, and whether this is your first time here or you're a seasoned veteran, we're glad you've made it. And if you're wondering what I do on this podcast, I read the stories that you send in to me about adoption. If you have a story that you'd like to share, you can send it in to theadoptiondoor@gmail.com. As always, you can remain anonymous if you'd like. After all, this is about helping other people. And yes, I'm sure there's a cathartic aspect as well. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, let's get into our first story, which comes to us from Michelle, and she writes, "Being adopted was both profound and transformative experience in my life. As I reflect on my journey, I am filled with mixed emotions, ranging from gratitude and love to curiosity and a longing for understanding. Adoption has shaped the very essence of who I am today. I was very young when I was adopted, so my memories of my early life are limited. The details of my birth parents and the circumstances that led to my adoption remain a mystery. But what I do know is that I was very welcomed into a loving and nurturing family who chose me as their own. Growing up, my parents never made me feel any different from my siblings who were biologically related to them. They showered me with unconditional love, support, and encouragement. Their acceptance erased any doubts or insecurities I may have had about being adopted. I was just their child, no questions asked. As I got older, I began to develop a natural curiosity about my roots. I yearned to understand where I came from and to know the story behind my adoption. My parents were incredibly open and supportive, always willing to answer my questions to the best of their ability. They reassured me that my adoption was a decision made out of love and that my birth parents wanted the best for me. With their encouragement, I embarked on a journey to search for my biological family. It was a complex and emotional process, but one that I felt compelled to pursue. I wanted to meet the people who had given me life and learn the circumstances surrounding my adoption. Finally, after years of searching, I was able to connect with my birth mother. The moment we met was filled with indescribable emotions, an overwhelming mix of joy, curiosity, and gratitude. I discovered that she had made the difficult decision to place me for adoption because she believed it would give me the best chance for a bright future. In an act of selflessness and love, I will forever be grateful for her. Meeting my birth mother allowed me to piece together fragments of my identity and better understand the forces that shaped me. It was a profound experience that provided me with a newfound appreciation for both my adoptive and birth family. I realized that love knows no boundaries and that families extend far beyond genetics. Being adopted has taught me valuable life lessons. It has taught me about resilience, empathy, and the power of unconditional love. It has also instilled in me strong desire to make positive impact in the lives of others, just as my adoptive family did for me. While adoption comes with its own set of challenges and complexities, I am grateful every day for the journey I have taken. I am grateful for the love and support of my adoptive family, for the opportunity to connect with my birth family, and for the unique perspective that my adoption has given me. I am a product of both nurture and nature, and my adoption story is a beautiful tapestry that weaves together multiple threads of love, sacrifice, and resilience. I embrace my identity as an adopted person and the unique experience that have shaped me into the person that I am today." Wow, thank you for sharing that story, Michelle. It was very well written, and I'm sure it could resonate with more than a few people out there. We really appreciate you sending that in. Okay, so our next story comes to us from Joseph, and Joseph writes, "I never thought I would become a parent. Being a foster parent was something that had never crossed my mind until one fateful day when everything had changed. It was a bright and sunny morning when I received a call from the foster care agency. They informed me about a young child who was in desperate need of a loving home, and they wondered if I would be interested in becoming a foster parent. My name is Joseph, by the way. Sorry if I forgot to mention that earlier. Curiosity mixed with a hint of nervousness flooded my thoughts. I pondered over the decision for a few months, realizing that this could be a life-changing opportunity, not just for the child, but for me as well. With a leap of faith, I agreed to open my heart and my home to this little one. Weeks of preparation went by in a blur. I transformed the spare room into a cozy space, complete with books, toys, and colorful decorations, each item carefully chosen with love, hoping to create an environment that would make the child feel safe and cherished. I knew things would be harder for me because I would be a single parent and a male nonetheless. I was fully aware of the stigma attached to the single fathers, but that didn't deter me one bit. I thought, no, I knew I could be a great father, and no one could convince me otherwise. Then came the day when I finally met the child. As I stood at the door, waited with a mix of excitement and apprehension, a car pulled up in front of my house. I took a deep breath to calm my racing heart as a social worker stepped out, holding the hand of a timid, wide-eyed child. This was the moment. I smiled warmly, trying my best to ease their nervousness. The child cautiously stepped forward, peering at me through the curtain of unruly hair. We exchanged greetings, and I led them inside, assuring them that this was their new home. It was the start of a journey filled with hope and promise of a bright future. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. Our bond grew stronger with every passing day. There were challenges along the way, tears, tantrums, but we faced them together. I learned the power of patience, understanding, and unconditional love. I discovered the depths of my own capacity to care for another human being. We laughed together, we played together, and shared stories of our bedtime cuddles. Every milestone, no matter how small, was celebrated with the utmost joy. From the first steps to the first days of school, I witnessed the growth and transformation of this remarkable child. And in their eyes, I saw the reflection of love and security they had found in my home. The road to adoption was not an easy one. It involved paperwork, court hearings, and endless meetings. But through it all, my determination never wavered. I knew in my heart that this child was meant to be a part of my life forever. Finally, the day arrived when the adoption was finalized. We stood before a judge who declared us a forever family. Emotions overwhelmed me as I hugged my child tightly, knowing that this was the beginning of a lifetime together. Today, as I reflect on our journey, I am grateful for the decision I made to become a foster parent. It was not just the child who needed me. I needed them just as much. Through his presence in my life, I discovered the true meaning of love and the incredible strength that lies within the bond of a child and a parent. Being a foster parent turned adoptive parent has been the greatest privilege of my life. Every day I am reminded of the transformative power of love and the immense joy that comes from opening your heart to another soul. And as we continue to navigate life's challenges, together I am grateful for the extraordinary gift that this child has brought into my life. Thank you, Joseph, and thank you for taking the time to write that beautiful story. Anyone that raises a child alone, man or woman, is a hero in my book. Hope that you write in again and give us an update and let us know how your child's doing in the future. We're sure we'd love to hear that. Okay, now we turn to our last story. Comes to us from Elizabeth, and she gives us a unique perspective. And she writes, "My name is Elizabeth, and as I walk into the bustling building of the adoption agency, a mix of excitement and anticipation fills the air. This is my domain, where dreams of parenthood come true, and lives are forever changed. As the director of the agency, I take immense pride in facilitating the process and connecting families with children in need of a loving home. Every day is a new adventure in this line of work, from the early mornings spent reviewing applications to the late nights arranging meetings. My role is demanding but incredibly fulfilling. Each family that walks through our doors carries their own story, their own hopes and dreams, and I am here to guide them through the intricate adoption journey. The first step is often the initial consultation, where I sit down with the prospective parents and listen intently to their desires, expectations, and concerns. These meetings are crucial in understanding their motivations, assessing their readiness, and ensuring there are well prepared for the responsibility of adoption. It is a delicate balance of empathy and professionalism as I guide them through the complexities of the adoption process, addressing any doubts or uncertainties along the way. Once the necessary paperwork is completed, the real work begins. Matching families with the perfect child requires a deep understanding of both sides. I spend hours meticulously reviewing profiles, assessing compatibility, and considering the best interests of the child. It's an intricate puzzle, ensuring the right fit in terms of personalities, cultural backgrounds, and special needs, if any. My goal is to create lifelong connections, built on love, understanding, for both the child and the new family. As the agency receives potential matches, I arrange meetings, interviews, and home visits. These moments are filled with a mix of emotions. I witness the nervousness, excitement in the eyes of the prospective parents, and the hopeful anticipation of the child longing for a forever family. It's a delicate dance, ensuring that both parties feel comfortable and confident in moving forward. When the successful match is made and the adoption process begins, my role shifts to that of a supportive guide. I offer guidance and resources, providing a network of support for the families as they navigate the legal requirements, counseling services, and emotional challenges that often accompany adoption. I witness the transformation of these families as they open their hearts and homes to the child that they have longed for, and it fills me with an indescribable joy. Of course, there are moments of heartache too. Not every match is successful, and not every adoption journey reaches its intended destination. In those instances, I provide solace and support, helping those families cope with the disappointment and assisting them in exploring other options. It's crucial to remain resilient and hopeful, knowing that the perfect match is still out there, waiting to be discovered. Running an adoption agency is more than just a job. It's a calling. It's an opportunity to make a lasting impact on the lives of children and families, to witness the beauty of unconditional love, and to bring hope and happiness to those in need. Each day, as I witness families form, bonds strengthen, and dreams come true, I am reminded of the power of adoption and the incredible privilege it is to be a part of this journey. Thank you, Elizabeth, for not only sending in your story, but also giving us your perspective that we are not usually privy to. And while we're grateful for all the stories that are submitted to the Adoption Door, we don't take any of them for granted. But we certainly find it very insightful to get something from the inside. So thank you again for that. Okay, before I sign off, I just want to do a quick sidebar here regarding someone's negative comment. I started this podcast about 8 months ago, hoping that it could help someone, at least one person, and judging by the emails I've received, I've managed to achieve that. That's really all I need. I don't need fame or notoriety. It's not why I do this podcast. I'd like to thank all those who have written in already to this show. It means the world to me. I'd also like to thank those who have emailed me, and not only with their stories, but also their comments. Well, granted, not all have been positive, but that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. And I understand that in this world there are going to be naysayers and those who are just outright mean. Fortunately, I haven't run into any of those, but that kind of brings me to my point. Now, I welcome all comments, and yes, even the unpleasant ones. If you have any thoughts about my show, please feel free to reach out to me, even if they are, thoughts that aren't warm and fuzzy. After all, I'm doing this show for you, and all I ask is that you be respectful, and I will afford you the same courtesy. After all, just because a comment is unpleasant doesn't mean it's wrong, and perhaps there really is something that I could do better. I guess what I'm saying is there something to be said for constructive criticism? I do this show because I'm passionate about it, about the cause, and what it stands for. For the most part, I get positive comments, but every now and then I get a negative one. Believe it or not, I don't mind them as much as you think. They keep me on my toes and cause me to think about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Checks and balances of sorts. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to be inundated with negativity. That's not what I'm saying at all, but being truthful is perfectly fine as long as you're respectful. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox, and that'll do it for this episode, number 13. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you'd like to submit your own story, you can email me at theadoptiondoor@gmail.com. You can remain anonymous or change your name, and some have done in the past. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast platform, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I do appreciate that. If you have any ideas or suggestions for the show or comments, like we just spoke about, I'd love to hear those too. You can email those to me as well. Once again, I'm your host, Andres, here at The Adoption Door, and I truly thank you for your listenership and time, because I know in this day and age, both are valuable commodities. So until next time, be good to yourself and to those around you.